Hello everyone and welcome back to Cyberking Productions. Hope you all had a fantastic Christmas. 2022 is nearly at an end. This year hasn't been great for many reasons, but we can all agree on that Doctor Who figures has been pretty good this year. So I wanted to have a look back at all the figures from this year, have a slight little review on them, and also give my thoughts. So let's jump right into it. So the first set of the year was Robot, and it was released in February. It included the 4th Doctor and the K1 robot. The Doctor does not come with his sonic screwdriver, but the set does include the disintegrator gun for the K1. The K1 was originally released as the first collect and build figure in 2008. The new release has a slightly shinier paint job, purple markings instead of red, matte grey on the collar, and a thinner right hand. He's not that different compared to the original, but what more could they do? The Season 12 4th Doctor was first released in the K1 Robot Collect and Build wave in 2008, but was also released in the 4th Doctor's Adventure set in 2009, and the 4th Doctor's Electronic TARDIS in 2010. It features a different head to the original release. It now uses the head from later 4th Doctors, first being used in 11th Doctor's set from 2010. He has a plain white top instead of a patterned white top, patterned dark green tie instead of a plain light bluey green tie, different coloured jumper, a brighter jacket, as well as a texture effect on the trousers. Overall, I really like the set. It's nice to see the K1 be released again, as it's become a very sought after figure. It doesn't offer a lot in terms of differences, but there wasn't a lot needed to do to make it better. The 4th Doctor is definitely the highlight for me. It's so much better than the original version. The next set was the Warriors of the Deep, which also released in February. It was the online exclusive for this year, which is still available to buy on character as of the time of recording this. It included Iktar, Tarpok and Skibbus, the 3 Silurians from the story. The 3 figures are identical to each other, apart from one has a red light instead of black. I want to start off by saying that they look amazing. They are honestly some of the nicest figures we've had in a while. The figures are made up of old and new pieces, with the head, torso, forearms, hands and feet being brand new tooling, while the upper arm, waist and legs are taken from the Sea Devil. It's one of the few figures that uses retooling incredibly well. This set is hands down one of the highlights from this year. The figures are incredible and look stunning, but there are 2 things that I wish I could change. One is the lack of articulation in the upper arm. That isn't there because of the retooling from the Sea Devil, but I wish I could pose the pointing finger touching the wrist device. The second thing is, I think the torso was too dull. It needed a dirty wash over it to give it a weathered look, which would also further match the actual props. 7 months later, in September, we got the first of 2 B&M waves. It consisted of 4 sets, which were the 8th Doctor pack, 10th Doctor pack, History of the Daleks 9, Planet of the Daleks Set 2, and History of the Daleks 10. Death to the Daleks. The 8th Doctor pack includes, the 8th Doctor 3 times. One from the TV movie, one from Big Finish, and the other from Night of the Doctor. It comes with the satchel for the Big Finish 8th Doctor. The TV movie version was originally released in the 11th Doctor set back in 2010 and hasn't had a release since. The new version is much better. He's much more accurate and has a much better paint application for the face. He has lighter hair, a rose gold coloured waistcoat with a bronzy cravat instead of grey, green lapels instead of red, green buttons instead of silver, khaki coloured trousers instead of grey, the same texture effects seen on the 4th Doctor, and brown shoes instead of black. The Big Finish version has been released 3 times before in an 8th Doctor and Dalek 2 pack. The set had 2 different releases from 2019, one at B&M and the other at Big Finish. It was then released again in 2020. The new version isn't that much different but has a far superior paint application on the face. He also has a slightly darker jacket, slightly darker trousers, dark bronze buttons as well as black shoes. He also now has his satchel, which is taken from the Connor Temple Primeval figure, but it does the job and looks really nice. Finally, the night version has been released twice, both in 2016. He released singly early that year and was then released again in the 13th Doctor set later in the year. The new version is quite different when it comes to colours. The jacket is a similar colour as the TV movie jacket, the cravat is a darker shade of blue, the waistcoat is gold instead of bronze, the shirt and cuffs are dirty instead of clean white, slightly lighter trousers and matte brown boots. I really like the set. If you don't have any of these figures already, then it's a great set to get them, as the original TV movie and night figures are quite expensive now. The figures look great, especially the TV movie one, but it's just a bit lackluster to get 3 figures of the same Doctor. Speaking of 3 figures of the same Doctor, They did the same formula for the 10th Doctor pack. The set includes 2 from the wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, one with his overcoat and one without, and one from a Titan Comics cover. An interesting note to mention is that the box says this figure has ball jointed shoulders, not released before. You can tell by looking at the figures they do not have ball jointed shoulders. Al mentioned on a podcast that the figure was removed to be put into another set, then that unknown set got cancelled and the figure went with it. He did say we may see it in the future, and I really hope we do. The suited version is a new variant of the 10th Doctor. He has a much brighter blue suit, slightly lighter shirt and a floral pattern on the tie. Unfortunately, he doesn't have his red pinstripes, which is a bit disappointing. Looking at images and clips of the story, his pinstripes are quite difficult to see, but I wish they were on the figure. The overcoat version is the same as the suited version, obviously apart from the coat. The coat is the same bright brown as seen in the 13th Doctor set released in 2016. The Titan Comics version is another new variant of the 10th Doctor, albeit a strange one. It uses the same body as the raggedy 11th Doctor released in 2010. It has a much lighter blue shirt with dirt marks, floral pattern on the tie matching the other 2 figures from the set, and a dirty wash on the shoes. Weirdly, the pinstripes don't continue up onto his behind, which looks very weird. All of these figures would be instantly improved if they used the head from the Tuxedo 10th Doctor from 2017 instead of the 2006 version. It's a much better head sculpt than the original, and would make the figures more unique. This set is definitely the most disappointing set from B&M in a while. These figures are quite weak and leave a lot to be desired. The suits feel unfinished without the pinstripes, the use of the 2006 head feels very outdated, and the Titan Comics figure is a very weird choice. If this set had given us the ball jointed shoulders, he would easily be one of the highlights. The first Dalek set of the year was History of the Daleks 9, Planet of the Daleks Set 2. It featured the Planet Supreme and an invisible Dalek. The Supreme Dalek was one of the original classic Daleks to be released. It came in the Dalek Collector Set 1 from 2008 and has become a very sought after Dalek. The new version has a paler gold, glossier black, purple dome lights instead of pink, as well as some missing paint detail under the dome lights, some slight differences with the eye stalk, and no central oval. The Invisible Dalek is a new variant of the anti-reflecting light wave Dalek, which released in the 3rd Doctor and Dalek 2 pack in 2013. The only difference between the two is the black spray paint. The Dalek is the same as previous 3rd Doctor Daleks, aside from its transparency and missing central oval. An interesting note about these Daleks, it seems they originally intended to be part of the first wave of the SFX Dalek range, as they were seen at the 2012 Toy Fair in London. The Supreme Dalek was also seen the year after as part of the second wave of SFX Daleks. Neither of them made it to release. It's a nice set, but I don't know how I feel about the paler gold on the Supreme Dalek. I prefer the original, but that could just be nostalgia talking. However, the transparent Dalek is great. It's a strange looking Dalek considering you can see the inner workings, but it looks really cool and is a nice variant to have. The final set of the first wave is History of the Daleks 10, Death to the Daleks. It featured a machine gun Dalek and a standard Dalek. Both of these Daleks are re-releases. The machine gun Dalek was released in the 3rd Doctor and Dalek Blister Pack in 2009, and the standard version was released in the first wave of SFX Daleks in 2012. Both Daleks are almost identical, apart from their weaponry, different coloured dome lights, missing oval and glossier plunger. When comparing both versions of the machine gun Dalek, the differences are quite minuscule. It has different shaped dome lights, which are also lighter in colour, slight paint differences on the eye stalk, missing black paint under the slats on the shoulder section, silver ball joints instead of grey, and a matte black plunger. When comparing both versions of the standard Dalek, there are even less differences. It has missing black paint behind the slats on the shoulder section, silver ball joints instead of grey, as well as a glossy plunger. The Daleks look great. The Death Daleks are one of my favourite Dalek liveries, so it's fantastic to finally get these Daleks again. The paint missing around the shoulder section is a bit annoying, but at least it's hidden behind the slats, so it's not very noticeable. 2 months later, in November, we got the second B&M wave, which consisted of 6 sets, which were the 9th Doctor pack, 13th Doctor pack, 1st Doctor and TARDIS, Creation of the Daleks set, History of the Daleks 11, Genesis of the Daleks, and History of the Daleks 12, Destiny of the Daleks. The first set of the second wave is the 9th Doctor pack, which included a hologram 9th Doctor, Rose Tyler, and a standard 9th Doctor. Again, there are no accessories. The hologram Ninth Doctor is a new variant and is based on the scene from Parting of the Ways. It has no differences to a standard Ninth Doctor figure aside from its transparency. The Rose Tyler is a new variant of the original figure and is based on her outfit from the end of World War III. She has a different skin tone, red jacket instead of pink, red top instead of purple, and a grey hood and arms instead of pink. Finally, the second Ninth Doctor is actually a new figure. He has new tooling for his head, jacket and arms. The blue top variant has been released before in the 13 Doctors set in 2016 and is based on his appearance from Aliens of London. The new tooling looks brilliant and is a vast improvement on the original. Interesting that the hologram Ninth Doctor uses the old figure design instead of the new one. I quite like this set. The hologram Ninth Doctor is a nice variant to have, one I'm surprised we haven't had before, especially considering they did a hologram 10th Doctor. The Rose Tyler is definitely the letdown of the set. It's nice that they gave us a new variant instead of the same as the previous releases, but it's just an incredibly outdated figure. The standard Ninth Doctor is really nice. I love the new head and jacket. I was not expecting new sculpting for the Ninth Doctor, so it's very welcomed and I think they did a great job. The last figure pack of the wave, as well as the year, is the 13th Doctor pack, which included a projected Weeping Angel, 13th Doctor and Yasmin Khan. The projected Weeping Angel is a new variant. It comes in two styles, Screaming and Weeping, so if you want both styles, you have to buy two of the set. They have done transparent angels before in 2010 from the Time of Angels. The figure is a standard Weeping Angel figure, but transparent blue. The 13th Doctor is a new variant and is based on her appearance from Once Upon a Time. She has slightly lighter hair compared to the recent variants. Finally, Yaz is another new variant and is based on her appearance from Eve of the Daleks. She's also been given a new head sculpt with her hair in a ponytail instead of buns. I'm pleasantly surprised with this set. The 13th Doctor is a simple variant, but a welcome one. It's nice to get a new Weeping Angel, especially for the 13th Doctor, considering she doesn't have a lot of villains, and I like the new Yaz, but I would have personally preferred to see Dan included instead. The TARDIS set of the year is unexpected and unique, as it's based off an Adventure in Space and Time biographical film from 2013. The set includes, for the first time from B&M, an electronic TARDIS, as well as the First Doctor, which, for the first time, is based on David Bradley and not William Hartnell. The TARDIS is identical in shape and style to the First Doctor TARDIS set from last year. Only differences are the brighter blue and tan stained pull to open sign. As mentioned before, the TARDIS is electronic, and it makes 4 different sounds. Full materialization, fast materialization, full dematerialization, and fast dematerialization. As mentioned before, the figure is based on David Bradley from An Adventure in Space and Time. The figure looks amazing. I think they nailed the head sculpt and the outfit looks spot on as well. The figure is made up of the First Doctor body, with the only new part being the head. I really like this set. It's great to get another electronic TARDIS, but it is pretty much the same as the last year's TARDIS, so it's not that exciting. The figure is great, however, and I think there's a real possibility of getting a Richard Herndl First Doctor from the 5 Doctors. Fingers crossed for next year. The next set is Creation of the Daleks, which included the prototype Dalek drone and Davros. The set includes 2 power pack accessories. This specific Genesis Dalek is based on the prototype Dalek seen in the story and has been released 3 other times. It first came in Dalek Collector Set 1 in 2008, it was released again in the Genesis of the Dalek set in 2011, and a gunless variant was released in a 4th Doctor and Dalek 2 pack in 2013. The new Dalek is painted in gunmetal grey, which looks really nice, far better than that older colour used on previous versions. The only other differences are the lack of grey on the eye stalk, lack of silver on the mesh, and the scratched worn fender. This Dalek has a unique feature. Both the plunger and gunstick are entirely removable. Normally the ball joint would remain, but it now comes out entirely, allowing you to replicate two different scenes from the story. On the back of the plunger and gunstick are holes for the battery packs to be inserted into, allowing some extra posability with the Davros figure or any other figure you choose. This feature is amazing. I was initially worried that the joints would be loose when posing, but thankfully it isn't, so you can still pose your Dalek in every possible way. The Davros figure is a re-release of the original, which was released in the Genesis of the Daleks set in 2011. It's had a significant glow up, especially on the face, and it looks amazing. It does have some variation to the original, with the black cabling instead of blue, red markings instead of yellow, different coloured switches, and a scratched worn fender. He also has a poppable side panel which will come off when pressing one of his hemispheres. This feature is on both variants. It is definitely the best B&M set from this year. The Davros is a big improvement and the Dalek is fantastic. I love the new colour scheme, it's far more accurate and just looks really nice. The feature on the Dalek is a pleasant surprise and works incredibly well. I wouldn't be surprised if next year we got a re-release of the Destiny Davros. The second to last set of the year was History of the Daleks 11, Genesis of the Daleks. It featured two standard Dalek drones. Both Daleks are actually new variants of the Genesis style. In the past we've only had bronze and silver gunstick variants, so it's nice to get something a bit different. They are painted in the same gunmetal grey as the Creation Dalek. They do have some slight differences to one another. One has different style dome lights, oval on the shoulder section, and a grey ball joint instead of black. Both Daleks also have the partly grey eye stalk, making the Creation Dalek the only Genesis Dalek figure without that detail. Like the Creation Dalek, both Daleks look fantastic. This set is great on its own, but I would recommend getting the Creation set to go with it, as it would make the definitive Genesis display. The final set of the year was History of the Daleks 12, Destiny of the Daleks. It featured two standard Dalek drones. Both Daleks are new variants of the Destiny style, albeit we've only had 3 others, but I'm glad they did some variety even compared to the older ones. Both Daleks have some differences between one another, with one having different style dome lights, black oval, bronze ball joint, black lower band, and a full black fender. They both feature a brand new eye stalk which has 4 rings instead of 5, and the pupil is printed on instead of indented into it. These Daleks are also painted in a new minty grey instead of the light grey used on the older ones. The Daleks look amazing. I've always had a soft spot for Destiny Daleks, so this set for me was an exciting one. I love that the Daleks have greater variety and differences compared to the original releases, as the Daleks in Destiny were very different to one another. Hopefully we'll get a new Suicide Dalek next year to go with these two. So that is every set from this year, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and tell me what you think in the comments below. What is your most loved and hated set from this year, as well as what you're hoping for next year when it comes to Doctor Who figures. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more Doctor Who content coming in 2023 with some games, some series related stuff, and some other stuff that is currently in the planning phase as well. Hope you all have a great New Year's, and I will see you all in 2023. Bye.